We are back here on the Lynne Hayes Freeland show. I should establish that, and I did not. I did not reach out to the district attorney's office for a statement. I did reach out to the mayor of Wilkinsburg, who did not respond to see if she had anything she wanted to say in this conversation. She did not respond. So going forward, where are you at this point, and what do you want? I mean, I'm guessing you want some movement from the DA's office.
Yes, ma'am. At the end of the day, we want to see this investigation come to an end. We realize the complexity that might be involved in a case where you don't have body cams and dash cams, and you may have some, contradicting evidence. So to that extent, we understand that. But at the very least, we believe that the district attorney can release the 911 call and Officer Robert Gowan's statement. In light of the recent EMS report that came out that appears to contradict the statements, the community at least deserves that much so that we can start grappling with a little bit of this case, especially given the fact that there's been so little transparency to begin with. So I think that this would be a real opportunity for the district attorney to help move this situation forward, for the community.
So I mean, we're coming up on a year, basically. I mean, here we are. We're almost at the end of September. And I always find it interesting that cases that involve police officers tend to take a lot longer than cases that involve ordinary citizens. Is this an ordinary amount of time? Is it an unusual amount of time? How does this stack up?
It's so hard to answer that question because we've been provided so little information, and that in and of itself, that the total lack of transparency is what inflames relations even more, because then we're left wondering, why is it taking so long? If you have so little evidence, they don't have body cams and dash cams, they just have statements. They maybe have some videos on Penn Ave, but why is it taking? That's a great question, and we would love to see some of this information come out. I mean, if it would make a lot more sense if the 911 call comes out and it does contradict Robert Gowan's statement, then the district attorney has a much bigger problem on his hands. If we're talking how many police officers were on scene, how many police officers corroborated that story? If a number of police officers all told the same lie, then they all need to be fired, on top of being prosecuted somehow or another for the murder. So, there are so many unknown factors, and that's why we really believe that the district attorney should be able to release that 911 call and at least Robert Gowan's statement. We would prefer all the police statements to be released, and continue the investigation. That's fine with us, but we need some insight, especially now that we have what appears to be a contradictory report.
Now, so often when you talk about a death, you talk about a homicide, and for family members, there is this elusive thing that they call closure.
Mm.
I don't know that I ever believed there was such a thing as closure, but people talk about this thing called closure. But for Romir Talley's family, closure's not even an option because there's just too much that they don't know, and it doesn't. And I don't know them. I've never met the family, but it doesn't. Based on everything you're saying to me, it doesn't sound to me like they're looking for anything more than answers, so they can then figure out where they go from here. Is that pretty accurate?
That's exactly right. They're a good family. They're a strong family. They're a productive family. One of the things I thought it was very interesting the first time I met them, to see the way the men in that family entirely deferred to the authority of the elder women in that family. It was something that struck me right away when they were saying Romir was not raised this way. He would not have shot at a cop. I saw the respect for authority in the men in that family. So, it's they're to see this family continue to receive little to no answers, and to just, kind of have it, the dirt kicked in their face with the mural, and with the refusal to even release a name, on top of the fact that just shortly before Romir died, his daughter died.
Right.
It's, this is, it's not just Romir, and it's like the suffering, the trauma that Tasha Talley has been forced to endure is a big part of why the community, why everybody needs to do their part to get her back, and to say this, a better way needs to be put in place. A more transparent process for these types of situations needs to be put in place. This woman was lit on fire when Romir got killed, and she hasn't been, nobody's helped to put it out yet, and that's, to me, that is the ultimate tragedy here, what Tasha Talley is being forced to endure.
We got a minute left, and the issue with the body cams for Wilkinsburg, the explanation is there's no money for them.
Yeah, and it's just bogus. There is no explanation, and to me, you don't have a legitimate police force without body cams. There's no excuse in 2020.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for joining us today. We're going to ask you to keep us in the loop on this. We're going to ask you to let us know what happens, and hopefully maybe next time you come back, you can bring Tasha with you, and it'll be a different outcome.
Yes, ma'am. Be happy to. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and we had to give you the whole show because there's just too many twists and turns to this story. So thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
All right, indeed. We'll come back in just a minute. We're going to wrap this all up because, of course, I got to remind you about voter registration. Yeah, we got to talk about that. Don't go away when the Lynne Hayes Freeland show continues.